This episode brought to you by MeepleRealty.com, your source for high-quality custom board game inserts. Meeple Realty, think inside the box. Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're bringing you our second part out of two. So this is the finale of our gameplay of Kingdom Death Monster. This is the Screaming Antelope encounter, the very first encounter with the Screaming Antelope. So when we last left off, the fight was going pretty well. My survivors weren't, they were all still alive, so that's always good. And none of them, I don't believe any of them had heavy injuries. I can't quite remember where we left off exactly. But even if they did have heavy injuries, there weren't very many of those. And they were doing pretty well. We had knocked out quite a few of the Screaming Antelope's AI cards. So let's get back in there, see what's going on, and see if all the survivors can come out of this thing unscathed. Now, I will have a link in the description below, or timestamp I should say, if you want to skip directly to the settlement phase, because we're going to go all the way through the settlement phase after the encounter. So take a look at that if you want to, and yeah, let's get back to the game. So that was all of our survivors, so time for the Screaming Antelope again. What do we have now? Stomp, pick target closest knockdown survivor. All the way down here at the bottom of the board, we have Luther down here, who is the closest knockdown survivor. So, gonna move and attack. So that's gonna be turning around and going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, 6. Brandy's getting hit. Oh, you know what? We'll deal with it. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knocked down. I forgot we have trample. Well, let's finish this off real quick. So he doesn't attack anybody, so that's good at least. If his attack damage the target, draw. Okay, so it didn't. All right, so that's good. But Brandy just got trampled on. When the monster collides with a survivor, they suffer damage equal to the monster's level. So for Brandy, leg, and we'll go ahead and take that. She doesn't have any armors, but she gets a light wound in her legs. What we forgot was up here, Dolores got trampled a minute ago. We didn't roll for her, so let's roll for her real quick. She gets a body shot, and we're going to take that. That'll be a light wound to the body for Dolores. Okay. All right, I think we're keeping up here. It's a lot to keep up with when you're dealing with 4 survivors all at the same time. So now who's going to go? Oh, real quick, that means Luther's going to stand up. Obviously, Brandy is not standing up because she just got knocked down. And I think we'll let her, we're not going to encourage her. We'll let her get up on her own. But I think Luther will go first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got that spear with reach 2, so he's going to be rolling 2 dice for the speed and 6+ on accuracy. He gets 1 hit. We've got the delicate inverted knee. If you hit with a club or shield, you clobber the monster and gain +2 luck when attempting to wound this location. Well, we don't have either one of those. But he does have 1 permanent luck. So we keep that in mind for the crits. And then he has 3 strength on the King Spear. So 5 will wound. Here we go. Got a 1. Nothing. All right. And no reaction. Of course, he's standing directly in front of the monster, which we've learned is a bad idea, but what can you do? Who next? Dolores does have dash, so we might want to use that to get her within range here in a second. So I think we'll go with Leah next, who's standing right there. She's going to turn around. 1, 2, and then she'll attack. She is attacking with Fist and Tooth. So we need 8+. Nothing there. Okay. Dolores is going to use her survival immediately following that attack. I believe it can happen following the attack. Immediately following that activation. So she's using her final survival to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to dash. All right. And so now that was, let's see, Luther went and Leah has gone. So now Dolores is going, and she's going to move here and attack with those bone axes again. And we need 5+. So we've got, wow, 3 hits. All right. Trap. So none of it matters. So that means knockback 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Dolores, and 2 brain damage, which leaves her with 1 insanity. Same thing here for Leah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and knock down. So knocks her down to 11. Fortunately, Luther is not adjacent. Dolores is getting dangerously low on insanity, though. I mean, she's technically sane again, which is not a good thing in this world. Okay, let's get that deck reshuffled, and we'll be right back with you. So that brings us to the Antelope's turn. We have Ravenous. Pick target closest survival, consumable gear, and range. Does any survivor have consumable gear? I don't think so. I'm double checking. Oh yes, the monster grease is consumable, and that's being being carried by Dolores. Is she within range? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She is. That's not good. So it's going to move there. Now with 1 speed, 2+ accuracy. This has 2 damage to it. She does have 1 evasion, so it's going to be a 3+. You got it. And that's 2 damage. And she has no survival. Oh, y'all, I'm sorry. This is off screen. I apologize. Let's get up there. All right. Arm and waist. So that is a light injury to the arms and knocks her down to 0 armor on the waist. And then Ravenous has an after damage. The Screaming Antelope consumes 1 gear in the target's gear grid. Choose and archive a gear card. So the Screaming Antelope essentially licks the monster grease right off of her. And that means she now no longer has that evasion. So the monster grease is gone. Okay, so now everyone stands up because they were all knocked down during a player's turn. And that is the end of the next monster activation. So everyone's standing up. Let's see what we can do. I think Dolores will go first. 1, 2, 3. Do I want to put her in the blind spot? Because that's likely to drive the Antelope that way. But I mean, if he gets driven that way, it's no different. You know what? Let's do this. She was here. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to go there. That way, if the Antelope is driven this way, at least Leah will still have a shot. So 4 dice, 6+. Let's see what we can do. So we got 2 hits. All right, we've got the Giant Tongue, which does have a wound reaction, and we've got the Restless Muzzle. We'll do the muzzle first since there's no reaction. And what is it? The bone axes have 3 strength, so we need 5. We need a 5. We have an 8, so we got a wound there. And now the Giant Tongue. And check this out. -2 toughness to wound this location. So that makes 6 toughness and With 3 strength on the bone axes, I need a 3 to wound. And I got it. Okay. All right. So we wounded the giant tongue. There is a reaction. Blood and spittle erupt from the screaming antelope's wounded undermaw. If the wound roll result is even, suffer 1 brain damage. If the wound result is odd, gain 1 insanity. It is odd. So let's get rid of that AI card. And Dolores, that's exactly what she needed. That pops her up to 2 insanity. Who's going to go next? I think we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can just get there since he has that spear. He's rolling 2, and he's going to need 6 plus. Neither one of them. Neither one of them. Okay, so nothing for him. I think immediately following that, maybe Brandy will use her final survival. Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Actually, she's not, because she has those bone darts. So she's just going to go on her turn now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now she can hit him in the rear with the bone darts. It's 1 speed. I need a 7 to hit. Whoa. Just missed with a 6. All right, so nothing doing there. And then finally we've got Leah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. She'll just move in like that. Okay. Let's see what the Antelope's going to do. Now we have to reshuffle our AI deck. We're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 AI cards. Shuffling it back up. Back kick. Pick target in blind spot in range. Nobody's in the blind spot. Okay. Closest threat in range is going to be Dolores. Turn monster, so target is in blind spot, and then attack with 1 speed. 3 plus accuracy. Dolores does not have evasion anymore. All right, so here we go. Definitely hits. That's 3 damage. This could be awful. So we've got waist, body, and legs. So waist is a light wound, body is a heavy wound, and legs is a light wound. All right, so she is knocked down. She's knocked down. So the question is, do I encourage her? Do I use Brandy's final, or Luther, either one of them, their final survival to try to get her up? You know, Luther has no wounds whatsoever. Brandy only has 1 wound. I'm going to use Luther's survival. No, Luther might need his survival for dash at some point to get close. I'm going to use Brandy's survival to encourage Dolores to stand up. Okay, and you know what? We will have... So we want Dolores to go first. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we're going to have Leah go first. And she's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gets her out of the way of any sort of trample stuff. And then she'll use the rawhide headband to see what the next 2 AI cards are. We have Ravenous. That's the one closest. Come on, closest survival. That's the consumable one. Now, do I have any more consumable stuff? I don't believe I do. I think the Monster Grease was the only consumable stuff that I've got. So instead, it'd be closest survivor and field of view. It's not so bad. Then I have Stomp. Closest knockdown survivor. All right, yeah, so I'm going to put Ravenous on top and Stomp as the second. No. I'll put Stomp on top because I've got a good shot of wounding. I've got a good shot of wounding, and that would be a good one to get rid of. Okay. Okay, so that was Leah's turn. So now Dolores is going to go with her bone axes. And she's in the blind spot, so 5+. So, wow, we have 3 hits, 2 of them perfect hits. Not that it matters right now, because she doesn't have any weapons that it matters with, but come on, no trap. No trap. We are good. All right, so we have the giant mouth that has a reaction. We have the restless chest, which has a reaction, and the furry throat, no reaction. So we'll definitely do furry throat first. All right, now this says if you hit with a club or shield, which we're not doing, obviously. Okay, so we have 3 strength. We need the 5+ for the furry throat. Crit! Crit! Okay, look. Critical wound. Gain 1 screaming antelope resource. Okay, let's do that real quick. And we cut off a piece of beast steak, organ, consumable. Shockingly appetizing. Fantastic. Let's see what else this says. There is a chance that this blow snaps a screaming antelope's neck, killing it. Roll another d10 on a result of 10. The screaming antelope dies instantly. Let's get a 10. Okay, just a 3. Didn't kill it, but it is significantly wounded. And that got rid of that Stomp AI card as well. Now, we've got 2 more hit locations. I think we'll go... All right, so we're going to go with the giant mouth next. So we need, again, 5+. Is that what I said? Yeah, yes. 5+ to wound. 9! She doesn't have... Okay, doesn't have luck. That was almost crit. Not quite. So that's all right, but we do take out another AI card. And finally, the restless chest. 5+. 4. Missed that one. All right, so no reaction. That reaction was only for a wound. All right, and that was Dolores. So that leaves us Luther and Brandy. Luther can attack from where he's at, so let's go ahead and do that. 2 speed, 6+ to hit. Nothing. You suck, Luther. Does he want to move or anything? Is there any reason to? I think he's good where he's at. He's going to stay there. Okay, so finally we have Brandy, who... She could come in, attack with the bone blade, or stay right where she's at with the dart. See, but being close to that guy is dangerous. It's dangerous. So she's just going to use the dart. Here we go. We need a 7. Whoa, right off the table. Let's roll a different one. 9, we got it. Okay, we hit. What do we have? We have the Restless Tiny Hands. All right, now this has a failure. So hopefully we don't fail here. We have 3 strength. We need a 5. 4 failed. That's not good. What happens? Grasping tiny hands make rude gestures at you. Startled, you gain +1 insanity and lose your composure. Spend movement to regain your senses before you can attack again. Oh, I'm sorry, not movement. Spend an activation to regain your senses before you can attack again. Okay. So, did gain insanity. That puts Brandy at 5 insanity. And we'll leave this card over here with Brandy so I can remember that she needs to spend an activation to regain her senses. All right, so what is the Antelope doing now? Stomp and Snort. Pick target. Random survivor in range. Everybody's in range. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. So, Dolores. Poor Dolores. Intimidate target. The screaming antelope begins to stomp its sword excitedly. A gurgled moan sounds from its undermouth. Turn to face the target. Roll a d10. An 8. On a result of 4+, the target suffers 1 brain damage and is knocked down. If the monster, she's not insane. She's not insane, so that's good. She's actually the only sane person here right now, which is good in this moment, not so much normally. But that puts her back down to 1 insanity. Okay, so I'm feeling, I mean, we're pretty close here. He's down to just, is it 3? He's down to 3 AI cards. 3 health left for the Antelope. So I feel like if I go with Luther first, well, maybe not first. Yeah, okay, here's what we're going to do. Luther can go, and he will attack right from where he's at. Yeah. And so he's got the spear, 2 speed, 6+. Nothing. You suck, Luther. You're so bad. All right, but he's then going to use his final survival to encourage Dolores to stand up. And now Dolores is going to go 1. Well, let's see. Dolores is going to stay right where she is and attack with her axes. Again, we need 6+. 2 hits. Okay, we got 2 hits out of that. No trap. Fantastic. We have the Restless Hoof. There you go. Oh, wait, no, hold on. But this is the Restless Eye. First strike. The Screaming Antelope's massive eyes glisten with human-like fear. If the attacker is insane, oh, you know what? Dolores is not insane. She only has 1 insanity. You need 3 to be insane. So she's not. So the hits are not canceled. Otherwise, the attacker suffers 1 brain damage. All right, so she suffers 1 brain damage. Not a big deal. That means she has no insanity left. She's completely sane, which is very dangerous in this world. But now we roll to wound the Restless Eye. We have 3 strength. We need 5 to wound. Nothing. We got nothing. Okay, so the Restless Eye is not wounded. Next, we have the Restless Hoof. This has a failure reaction, so we need a 5. Let's get a 5. We got a 9. Oh, I wish he had some luck, but that is a wound. Down to 2 AI cards. So who still needs to go? Brandy. Oh, but Brandy, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and do Brandy here. She has to use an activation because of, remember, the restless tiny hands. So she has to use an activation before she can attack again. So that activation is used. She can still move. Do we want her to move? Is there any reason? She'll just get a little bit closer, I guess. Just so, let's go on, we'll put her here. So she's as close as she can be without being adjacent. Now we have Leah left. And she is going to, she's going to go here and attack that way with, because I'm just afraid if she attacks in the rear here, I'm really afraid of her causing the Antelope to take off this way and colliding with Dolores. And Dolores is in pretty rough shape already. She has a heavy wound to the body. So, all right, yeah. So we're going to attack here with Tooth in Hand, or Fist and Tooth, 8+. Nothing. All right. Okay, so that is their turn. So we just shuffle up. The only 2 we have left are Back Kick and Stomp and Snort. So shuffle up the 2 AI cards. Try not to remember which is which. All right. And here we go. We've got Back Kick. Anybody? Nobody's in the blind spot. All right. Closest threat in range is going to be either Dolores or Dolores or Leah. So 1 through, or I guess I can pick. I don't have to do it random. I can pick. And so in that case, Leah has no wounds whatsoever. So she is definitely going to take this hit. Ooh, man. She also only has armor on her head. But she does have evasion. Yeah, all right. So, let's see, turn monster. So target is in blind spot. And then 1 speed. It's going to need 4. A 4 plus. We got a 2. We got a 2. It misses. Okay. All right, we're safe. Because that would be 3 damage. All right, so let's try to finish this guy off right here. I think we'll go with Dolores. All right, so 6 plus. 3 hits. No traps. Okay, we have the Restless Inner Thigh, which has a wound reaction. We're going to do that one last because the other 2 have no reactions. The Restless Back and the Restless Ear. They both cause persistent injuries. Let's go with the Restless Back first. Okay, here we go. Restless Back. All right, we don't have a club or shield, so that doesn't affect anything. And we need a 5. We got a crit. Critical hit. Critical wound. I mean. Okay. Persistent injury. Crushed spine. Your strike lands squarely on the monster's squirming spine, accompanied by a sickening crunch. Affects some AI cards, so we'll have to watch out for that. Let's see. All right, so next up. Oh, wait. That gets rid of that AI card. Okay. Next up is the Restless Ear. Again, 5. 2. We missed. All right, so nothing there. And finally, the Restless Inner Thigh. We do have a wound reaction, so we'll see what happens here. 5. A 1. We missed again. Okay. All right. So next up, we'll go with Luther. Luther? I think so. Yeah, we'll go with Luther. The King Spear has 3 strength and 2 speed. Hitting with a 6 plus. Dude, he just has been awful. Just absolutely awful. All right, now we'll move with Leah. She's going to move here. And she'll attack 8 plus with Fist and Tooth. Except we're in the blind spot, so it's 7 plus. So 1 hit. We've got the Gnarled Horns. All right, so this is going to take a... She has 0 strength, so 8. We need an 8. So here we go. We got it. That's a wound. All right, which means there are no AI cards left in the Screaming Antelope's deck. 1 more wound, and it is dead. So instead of her attacking from a distance, she's going to move there. That way she can use the Bone Blade. She gets 2 dice. It's 2 speed, 6 plus, so it's going to be a 5 plus because we're in the blind spot. We got 2 hits. We have the Restless Shank. And we have the Giant Teeth. Now, is the Bone Blade frail? It is. All right. Okay, so we'll do this first. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, no. We'll definitely do this first because the wound reaction is pretty devastating. So Giant Teeth, here we go. We're doing the Giant Teeth first. We need... It's 2 strength, so we'll need a 6. 3. We did not wound. All right, and that is super dead, so we're about to lose our... We're going to lose our sword here in a second. Now for the Restless Shank. Again, we need a 6. We got a 5. We missed. Okay. So she has lost the bone blade. That will get archived now. It's shattered when it hit that super dense location. So the Screaming Antelope is going to get at least one more turn. His basic action is all he's got left. Closest knockdown survivor in range. No knockdown survivor. No target is he's going to graze. So the graze instinct means the monster full moves to the closest acanthus plant and ends its turn. If the monster is on or adjacent to a acanthus plant, archive the terrain and heal 1 wound. If there are no acanthus plants on the showdown board, instead full move forward in a straight line. All right, so full move towards acanthus. I think these are equal distance, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we'll say. All right, so can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She can't get there. Can anyone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so Brandy is going to have to. Brandy's going to go 1, 2, 3, and fire. She'll go 4. Might as well go there. Might as well go there, really, and hit him with the bone darts. So here we go. 1. We need a 7+. Got a 3. No good. All right, so no one has survival, so they can't dash either. Man, I wish I had another ranged weapon. Oh my gosh, and he's going to be heading straight for that acanthus and start trying to heal. This is going to be really obnoxious. So Luther, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least we can maybe try to, well, we'll see. So again, he's going to graze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and so now it's Brandy's turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Bone darts, need a 7. So close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he's going to. All right, so if the monster is on or adjacent to an acanthus plant, archive the terrain and heal 1 wound. So 1 AI card has been returned to the AI deck. So we got to hit him twice now. We got to wound him twice. Who can get to him? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's go. There we go. So 5+. All right, so we've got a 9 and a 6. So 2 hits. We've got the Ferocious Spasm and the Furry Tail. We're going to go with the Furry Tail first. And let's see, it's going to be a 5 or better. Nothing. All right. And again, 5 or better for Ferocious Spasm. Nothing. And there is a reflex. The Screaming Antelope frantically attacks everything around it. 1 at a time, target each survivor in the zone of death and perform the basic action. So, speed of 2, however, the Antelope does have -1 speed, so it'll just be a speed of 1. 2 plus accuracy. All right, so she got hit in the waist, and that will be a heavy wound for Dolores. So she's knocked down. So up next, and I'm getting really worried, but we haven't seen the trap. That trap's coming up. Up next, just in case it is the trap, let's have Brandy go next with the bone darts. Let's go there, actually. 7+. She got it. Okay, 7. The Restless Rump. All right. We're going to need 5 to wound. Got it. Wound. Okay. And this does have a reflex, but it does get rid of that AI card. But the reflex is turn the monster to face away from the attacker and full move forward in a straight line. Cancel all hits now out of range. Well, fortunately for us, monster's on the edge of the board. So I believe that means it just runs into the edge and stays there. And let's throw Luther in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the spear. Six plus. Got a hit. He finally gets a hit, and we get the trap. All survivors adjacent to the monster suffer 2 brain damage. Oh no! Oh no! Dolores. This is bad, y'all. She is going to take a severe brain injury. Let's roll and see what it is. Oh, a 9. New perspective. You are knocked down and gain 1d10 insanity. Okay, that's not terrible. She's already knocked down, and then she gets 1d10 insanity. 6 insanity. That could have worked out much worse. All right, but let's finish the trap. Oh, knock back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is then going to knock down Brandy as well. Full move that way because he turns away from the attacker. All right. So that trap wasn't terrible, other than Luther just didn't get to finish off the Antelope. So that leaves Leah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if she, with fist and tooth, can finish this guy off. 8+ is what we need. 1 hit, perfect hit. All right. We've got the delicate inverted knee. And of course, we're going to need an 8. We're going to need an 8. Nothing. All right. So the monster is going to use his basic action. Closest knockdown survivor. Means he's turning this way. 1, 2, 3. So Dolores is now knocked down, which means because of trample, takes 1 to the waist. I'm sorry, not Dolores. Leah is knocked down. 1 to the waist, so that is a light injury. And then the Antelope is going to attack. Normally 2 speed, but has speed -1, so 1 speed. 2+ accuracy on Brandy. A 6, so it hits her waist. So Brandy loses down to 0 armor on her waist. All right. Everybody stands up except for Leah, because she just got knocked down. That puts Brandy right there at him. I think we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Dolores is going to attack with the axe. 6+. Nothing. Absolutely nothing hit. Oh, man. Okay, so that's Dolores' turn. I think now Brandy will get out of the way. 1, 2, 3. And throw a bone dart at him. Need a 7. Got it. We have the Restless Shoulder. And what is again? That's going to be a 5. Crit! And definitely wounded. Gain for the crit. Gain 1 Screaming Antelope resource. Whew. That is the game, y'all. Let's see what that Screaming Antelope resource is, by the way. The bladder, organ, consumable, smells like urine. No kidding. All right, so for the Screaming Antelope Showdown, Aftermath, Victory, level 1, all hunters, all survivors get 1 hunt XP. So Leah is going to have a milestone there. She's at 2 now. Luther is at 3. Dolores is at 3. And Brandy will be hitting a milestone as well. +1 to weapon proficiency levels. So now, obviously I didn't write Luther's weapon proficiency here. However, he's been through that particular age milestone. I believe the reason why I hadn't written it was because I hadn't decided which weapon he was going to be carrying yet. But he clearly was supposed to be a spear proficiency. I hope y'all forgive me for not having it there before. But that's his proficiency there. Now he did, despite being pretty useless throughout most of that, I believe he did get 1 wound. I'll double check that on the replay, and if I'm wrong, I'll fix it, because I know he was struggling there pretty hardcore for a little while. And then Dolores, of course, did get quite a few wounds with the axe, so her proficiency goes up 1 as well. And then we've got a number of rewards. When the monster is defeated, any survivors with 20 plus insanity are driven mad by the monster's death wail. They vanish, screaming into the darkness, never be seen from again. Fortunately, nobody's quite that bad. Leah is up to 11, but that's the worst that we've got as far as insanity goes. Then the group gains the following rewards. We've got 4 basic and 4 Screaming Antelope resources. So for 4 basic, we've got Monster Organ, Monster Hide, Love Juice, and Monster Organ. All right. Now, by the way, for the Love Juice, that is during the settlement phase, you may archive this to the intimacy event. Nominated survivors must be able to consume. All right. So there's our 4 basic resources. And then we've got the 4 Screaming Antelope resources, the large flat tooth. When you gain this, a survivor of your choice gains +1 insanity. Well, I think we're definitely going to give that. Well, Dolores has 6 now, so actually she's not so bad. Brandy 5, Leah 11, and Luther 5. Let's give it to Brandy. Brandy will have 6 insanity now. All right. Shank bone ×2, strangely jointed, and a 3rd shank bone. Okay, so before we go into the settlement phase, Leah and Brandy both have hit an age milestone. So this is where they're going to gain their weapon proficiency. And it says you may now select a weapon type for weapon proficiency if you wound a monster, blah, blah, blah. And for Leah, her weapon proficiency is going to be fist and tooth. I just think it would be cool to try to develop that, because if you manage to become a master of any weapon, then that makes the entire settlement a specialist in that weapon. And if my survivors could be specialists with fist and tooth, even if they get disarmed in combat, they'll still have that going for them. So she's going to be fist and tooth specialist. Then I have to roll on the table. So let's see. A 10. Oh, wait. I got to roll a 2d10. 2d10. 17. So that is gain +1 permanent accuracy. Fantastic. That's awesome. Because that'll bring the fist and tooth, has 8 accuracy normally, but that brings it down to 7. And now for Brandy, let's see. We've got an axe specialist. We've got a spear specialist. What could we do for her? You know, she's using that ranged weapon, but you know, the darts, ranged, thrown, bone. This says that the available weapon types to specialize are axe, bow, club, dagger, fist and tooth, grand weapon, guitar, shield, spear, sword, and whip. So thrown isn't an option, so I'm going to go with bow. And we're going to try to get her set up with a bow here. And then let's roll the 2d10 for her. 11 is one random fighting art. So the chosen fighting art, make sure we don't have two cards here, is Unconscious Fighter. It takes 7 bleeding tokens to kill you. Okay, so normally 5 bleeding tokens, but for her, it's 7 now. Okay, so here we go into the settlement phase. A few things just to catch you up to where I'm at. I do have the Collective Toil. I actually ended up with over 10 survivors during the first game. So Collective Toil, Society Principle. Your settlement leans into the storm. If everyone holds strong, you will triumph. At the start of the settlement phase, gain +1 endeavor for every 10 population. My population currently is at 17. All right. I've had one person die, which was me. I died in year 2, had a bone shard through the heart, basically, which is terrible, and had one unnamed survivor exiled, which I think we're going to end up seeing here momentarily because, as you can see, I have the Bone Witch event coming up here, which was a result of that person being exiled. So we'll see how that goes. The other principle we've got is Graves. Death principle. This occurred after I was killed. All new survivors gain +1 understanding. When a survivor dies during the hunt or showdown phase, gain +2 endeavors. When a survivor dies during the settlement phase, gain +1 endeavor. All right, so now for the Collective Toil, I'm going to go ahead and pull out an endeavor token for that. All right, and you know what? We'll keep all the endeavor tokens right here in the middle of the table. It'll be easy to keep track of them that way. In our innovation deck, we have 8 cards currently. And then as far as structures go, we have the Lantern Horde, which is, of course, standard. This lets us innovate. I've already built all 3 of these structures. And then down here, shared experience. I could nominate a survivor that has 2 or more hunt experience than yourself. They describe illuminating details of their desired death. If you are not deaf, gain +1 hunt experience from their story. If the nominated survivor has a shattered jaw, instead gain +1 insanity. And that costs 1 endeavor to do that. We have the Organ Grinder, which you can turn, you can develop all these different things there. The one thing I can't develop right now is the Monster Tooth Necklace because I do not have the heat. I haven't discovered heat yet. Also, you have the Augury down here, which allows you to roll a d10 by spending an endeavor and see what happens on this, possibly resulting in a child. However, definitely don't need to do that because we have the Love Juice over there, which we'll probably use here momentarily. It also lets you build the Stone Circle, which I have built as well, and we'll get to that momentarily. We've also got the Bonesmith, which lets you build all kinds of cool stuff out of bones. Down here, we do need ammonia for those 2, and I don't have ammonia yet. We've got the Catarium that we got for the first time when we killed the White Lion the last game, and just all this different stuff you can build from that. Okay. The Skinnery. Okay. So down here we need drums and ammonia to build those 2 things. Don't have either of those yet, but obviously you can still build some other stuff here as well. And here's the Stone Circle, which is where you can use all the Screaming Antelope stuff. And so since I knew I was going for the Screaming Antelope, went ahead and built this last time. Haven't looked over it a whole lot yet, but let's see down here. Forbidden Dance required. We don't have that. Harvest Ritual. Spend any number of monster resources to draw an equal number of basic resources. And the 2 innovations I have so far are language, because everybody gets that after the very first game, and paint, which is what gave me dash, and now the paint consequences are in the innovation deck as well. So the next step is Survivor's Return. Every returning survivor earns an endeavor, so that gets us up to 5 endeavors now. And all the survivors heal all their light and heavy wounds. And actually, those endeavors actually shouldn't have come in until the third phase. That's where you gain endeavors. So we've got that. So now update the timeline. All right, so here we are, Lantern Year 3, settlement event is the first thing that we got to deal with. So let's see what that's going to be. Lights in the sky. A spectacular light show erupts against the limitless darkness above. Swirling, vivid trails streak overhead. They lift everyone's spirits, lingering effects. The settlement's collective imagination is set aflame. After rolling for any endeavor, you may add +1 or +2 to the result. Okay, so this section right here requires graves, which we have. Use an endeavor once per settlement phase. And roll 1 through 5. The settlement celebrates the lights of the departed as they streak past, gain +2 survival. A column of light strikes you. You are filled with the memory of the dead. If insane, add 3 armor to every location when you depart this lantern year. Wow, that's for 6+. Face painting, I don't have that yet. Requires inner lantern, I don't have that yet. If we manage to innovate one of those, we'll check those out. So I wonder, I'm thinking that when it says after rolling for any endeavor, it's specifically talking about the ones on this card. That's how I'm going to play it anyway. I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about. So that was actually probably pretty good. But next, we've got the Bone Witch. So let's see what that's going to be. One day, the exile emerged from the darkness. Because remember I told you that I had a female survivor exiled in year 1. The settlement worried at the sound of her wailing chants. Everyone feared what mystery kept her alive in the darkness all these years. Some could not resist asking. All non-deaf returning survivors gain +3 insanity. So that puts Leah at 14. Luther at 8. Dolores at 9 and Brandy at 9. The most insane returning survivor, or survivors in case of a tie, is inexorably drawn to the Bone Witch and must endeavor at the witch camp. Otherwise, during the settlement phase, any survivor may endeavor at the witch camp if they choose. So that means that Leah Scatman must endeavor at the witch camp. All right, so normally we go from update the timeline to update death count. However, we don't have anybody who died, so we're good there. Check for milestones. I just checked that while I was off camera there, and we're good on any milestones, nothing new there. Now we move on to develop, which is where we can endeavor. So we're gonna have to use one endeavor to roll a d10, and this is Leah who's doing this. She got a 9. So right here, 9. The Bone Witch whispers of the horrors and wonders she has seen. Arming you with valuable wisdom, gain +2 insanity, +1 understanding, and the Bone Whisperer secret fighting art. Okay, so Leah gets +2 insanity. That puts her at 16 now. And she gets +1 understanding. So that's 1 understanding for her. And the Bone Whisperer fighting art. Let me find that real quick. So here it is, Bone Whisperer secret fighting art. When another survivor dies on the showdown board, place a token where they died. If you pass over it, remove the token and eat their skull. Heal your survivor and roll 1d10 plus your hunt XP. And then all this happens. 1 through 3, you feel amazing. Gain +1 permanent movement, speed, and evasion. 4 through 8, gain +1 permanent strength. 9 through 18, gain a fighting art and +5 survival. 19 plus, you run away into exile at the end of the showdown. You are gone forever. Wow. Okay. Cool. So that's pretty gruesome. But yeah, that's amazing. All right, there's some pretty crazy stuff in the bone that the Bone Witch can do for me over there in the witch camp. First, though, I want to endeavor, or I want to innovate. And to innovate, we have to use 1 endeavor, 1 bone, 1 organ, and 1 hide. Now, unfortunately, we only have one hide, but we'll use that. And we'll use the monster hide, the monster organ, and the shank bone. And one endeavor, that leaves us with 3 now. Draw 2 innovations, and we can keep 1. So we have sculpture. This came from the paint. It's a paint consequence. It is art. With an endeavor, you create an inspirational statue, skip the next hunt, and lose a fighting art. Record this fighting art on the settlement record sheet. A settlement can only have 1 inspirational statue. You cannot make another. Secret fighting arts are not fighting arts. And then as an endeavor, you study the inspirational statue. Roll a d10 on a 6+, gain the recorded fighting art. Interesting. All right. Or pictograph, also a paint consequence. At the start of your survivor's act, they may decide to skip their act and run away, or do the runaway event. After a hunt event is resolved, a survivor may decide it's time to go home and do the runaway event. All right, I'm gonna innovate the sculpture, and because I think it might be pretty neat to create the fighting art. Create a sculpture of the fighting art. Was a bone whisperer, and just have that passed down from generation to generation. So we're going with the sculpture, and then that'll add 1 additional card to my innovation deck. Pottery is the sculpture consequence. All right, so I am going to use 1 organ, monster organ, to get some monster grease back and give that to Dolores, because she got hit so much that last time that I need to give her a little evasion to help her out there. And I'm going to use 2 shank bones to get the bone earrings. At the start of the showdown, gain +2 speed and +2 strength tokens if insane and all gear in your gear grid has the bone keyword. And I feel like this might be a mistake, but I'm going to use the large flat tooth just as a regular bone to create the bone dagger. All right, now I do have the paint innovation, and the paint innovation combined with the bladder and any other organ. So we'll go with the monster organ. That will get me blood paint. And what blood paint does is, with a single activation, I can activate both weapons onto the left, both weapons to the left and right of this card. These are 2 separate attacks and cannot be used with 2-handed weapons. And I'm going to use my beast steak to create some more monster grease. And the only thing I have left is the love juice. I'm actually going to stick this into settlement storage and hold on to it. And you can see I already have a broken lantern in there. I'm also going to stick this cloth in there as well, into the gear storage actually. Now Luther has been with the settlement from the beginning, so he is actually going to use an endeavor to go talk to the witch, because he remembers when the witch was part of the settlement. Oh, a 1! The bone witch never forgave her exile. Her burning hatred lit the dark brighter than any lantern. With jagged teeth and gnarled claws, she attacks. You manage to escape, but the wounds she inflicted continue to burn. The group may spend 3 endeavors to save you, which I don't have. Otherwise, you die a miserable, wailing death. Departing survivors are haunted by your terrible death scene. They lose 2 survival and gain +3 insanity. Departing survivors. So whoever goes on this next trip, I suppose, is who that'll be. I forgot those guys should have been there to begin with. And then I have to add the Bone Witch in the timeline 3 years from the current year. So in year 6, the Bone Witch will show up again. Wow, that was rough. And so Luther is dead. Luther's dead. So I'm not... I am not going to send anybody else to the Bone Witch. You know, only a result of 1 or 2 would have caused that to happen. Now, I don't know who's going to replace Luther, so Luther's dead. All right. I don't know who's going to replace him on the next mission, but that puts our death count. So it's 2 people that have died. There's only 2 of the originals left now. Dolores and Brandy. I do know that the 3 that I've got here, Leah, Dolores, and Brandy, they all will be departing on the next one for sure. So they're all going to get this. What is it? They lose 2 survival and gain 3 insanity. Well, they don't have any survival, but so that's 19 insanity for Leah, 12 for Dolores, and 12 for Brandy. So what I want to do with these last endeavors, because I'm not going back to the witch, I'll tell you that. I've already innovated. I can't do that again. You know what? I'm completely forgetting that we have lights in the sky. So let's look at this again. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, who should I give this to? Dolores, because she had it pretty rough last time. So Dolores is going to use this one. We're going to roll for lights in the sky. 10. So a column of light strikes you. You are filled with the memory of the dead. If insane, add 3 to every location when you depart this lantern year. And she is clearly insane. So she'll get 3 additional armor for every location. So there we go. That is my the gameplay of Kingdom Death Monster. I can't believe that all 4 of my survivors went all the way through. And then Luther ends up getting taken out by the Bone Witch in the settlement phase. Now, since then, I've played a couple more games since I filmed this, and I've now seen that the settlement phase can be quite dangerous. Very interesting. The thing that stands out to me about this game right now is the stories that develop and how, you know, obviously the game itself has actual story in it, but then you fill in the gaps on your own because you've developed, you know, where these survivors come from as part of the story. And, you know, I've got actual, you know, families that have developed in my solo campaign now, and just you create these storylines. And so then when certain survivors die, it actually matters. And granted, you don't have to play like that. You know, it could just be, you know, you're just throwing this cannon fodder to the wind, and a completely valid way to play the game. But I've really enjoyed the storylines that have developed, the personal storylines that have developed while playing this. So in my solo campaign, I have played through the Butcher now. So I think maybe the next game I play solo, which will be, I'm thinking about trying to take on the level 2 White Lion, which I've heard. I try not to read too much on this game because I want it to be a surprise. I want there to be, you know, I don't want to, especially my first time through, really get into the strategy of what other people have experienced. I want to kind of experience it on my own. I have seen that some people think, you know, have said that going up against the level 2 White Lion this early might be a mistake, but I've done really, really well against level 1 White Lion and the Screaming Antelope, and then the Butcher didn't kill anybody either. So I'm thinking maybe level 2 White Lion, and if I do that, if I do go level 2, I'll bring that gameplay video to you as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like my channel and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate that. And until next time, if you're bored online, board offline.